Bonjour y'all, my name is Brita, and today on Tuesday night we are continuing with Fortresses 101. Today's topic, which chamber should you choose? Before doing a wizarding challenge, of course, you have to decide which chamber in the fortress to enter. Will you do Ruins 1, or will you go all the way up to Dark 5? Well, to decide the best chamber for you, you need to consider multiple factors. 1, what are your goals? 2, what are your current resources? 3, what is your individual level in your profession? 4, are you playing by yourself or with others? I am going to go over all of these different questions, these different factors, to help you balance them all and determine the best chamber for your wizarding challenge. Let's discuss goals. What are your goals for completing a wizarding challenge? There are a few goals that are pretty common among players. Of course, one of the big goals is just ranking up your challenge XP, grinding challenge XP, getting those spell books. And if that is your goal, then the chamber that you will want to do is the highest chamber that you are most comfortable doing. And comfort is a personal thing, and the comfort level you might have will probably depend on the factors I'm going to go over in a few minutes. So your resources, your personal profession level, and whether or not you are playing by yourself or with other people. So, for example, if I am just grinding my challenge XP with Dan and we are duoing, we are going to stick with either Forest 5 or Dark 1. We are comfortable doing those together using few to no potions, kind of depending on whether or not we get some elite Acromantulas or elite Urklings, since I'm a professor and he's an Auror. That is our comfort level for a high chamber, just the two of us, for grinding challenge XP. So that is one goal. Another goal is if you are trying to get particular foundables, the challenge exclusive foundables for your registry. So I'm going to pull up my registry real quick, show you guys what I am working on. I mentioned this in my RuneSense video. So I am working on Hogwarts School. I really want to get these fragments, these particular Fortress exclusive fragments. So I am going to choose chambers that have a pretty high percentage of dropping a bonus fragment, as I like to call it. That's also not too difficult or too time consuming or too resource intensive. Because of course, you know, if I'm going to grind Dark 5, I'm always going to get that bonus fragment, assuming I win. But that is assuming I win, and that will be using up some of my resources. So there is a lot of research from thousands of wizarding challenges on the drop rates for different chambers. I will link that entire spreadsheet down below so you can check it out for yourself. However, I can tell you that your best balanced approach to getting these family fragments is Tower 3, Tower 4, and Tower 5. They all have a reasonably high percentage of dropping that extra foundable that you want, while also still being pretty easy to take out, even as a solo player. I can solo Tower 5 with no potions pretty quickly. So those are good chambers to choose if your goal is to grind foundable fragments. Finally, there is another goal, and that is the challenge fragments. So let's go over to my challenge registry real quick. So you can see that I have a silver frame for books 1, gold frame for books 2, silver for books 3. But if we skip over to the wands, I have no frames, symbols, no frames, magical devices, no frames. Very sad. And grinding these foundable fragments takes a different strategy than grinding the fragments in your exploration registry. So I will actually have a more detailed video coming later on a more advanced approach to choosing your chamber based on this particular goal of getting the challenge foundable fragments. But for now, you basically just want to be fairly evenly spread out among the chambers. You know, there are times when I'm grinding by myself or just with Dan, and I'll start a Ruins 5, or I'll start a Ruins 1 and go all the way through Tower 5 or Dark 1, doing one challenge in each chamber. That gives me a better spread of challenge fragments to minimize the likelihood of getting duplicate fragments. And again, there is a better way to choose your chamber to get these foundable fragments, but it is a more advanced technique and involves a spreadsheet, and I will hopefully have that video up next week. And that is the tool that I'm actually currently using to choose my chambers. So those are the considerations that you need to keep in mind for your goals. Which chamber should you choose for your goals? Now let's discuss the other factors that you need to keep in mind. What are your resources? So, by resources, I mean time. How much time do you have to grind wizarding challenges? If you have an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, then yeah, Dark 5, baby, all the way. But if you have like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then you might want to stick with lower challenges. How much spell energy do you have? Did you recently top off? You know, you're at like 250, 300. Then again, Dark Chamber 5. But if you have like 30 spell energy, then you might want to stick with like Tower 3 and below. Also, what potions do you have? So I have mine pulled up here. I used up a lot of potions on the April Community Day that I am trying to restock. And to be honest, it's not just how many potions do you have, but how many potions are you willing to expend? You can see I am getting pretty low on my wit sharpening potions. I also only have like a handful, in my opinion, of Stimulo potions, and I'm saving those for, mostly at least, for high threat level foundables. As a professor, I like to use Strong Invigoration Draft. I have plenty of healing potions in case I'm in a battle with no magic zoologist. So again, these are just some of the things that you need to keep in mind when choosing your chamber. Do you have the resources to be a good teammate in a higher chamber? What is your profession level? As you can see, I am a maxed out professor. That means that I am a level 15 professor, which is recommended but certainly not required to do Dark 5. Now, this will kind of go hand in hand with the next factor, which is, are you soloing or are you playing with other witches and wizards? You know, if you are a lower ranked professor or magic zoologist, you can still do higher chambers if you are paired up with high level players. And that's kind of the issue with taking the night bus, is that right now we don't know what level other players are. So if you are, again, kind of a lower level, I would say definitely 10 and under and really you should be thinking about it if you are 12 and under. And again, I'm getting that number from, if you look at your expertise page on your profession page, it's that number near the top. So if you are 12 or below, you should really be thinking twice about going in the higher dark chambers with a bunch of players you don't know. If you are above 10 and you have lots of potions and you have lots of spell energy and you are willing to use those potions and you're willing to take out, you know, whoever, all your foes is necessary, then yeah, go ahead and try it. But you really do want to keep your profession level in mind when doing higher chambers, especially if you're playing with people you don't know. Because if it turns out that all of you are low level professions, then it's going to be a lot harder for y'all to complete your dark chamber. And of course this, again, your level goes hand in hand with whether you are soloing or playing with other people. If you are soloing, then you should just go as high as you feel comfortable going. And, you know, for me, I might be maxed out, but I'm not going to solo even Dark 1. I'll solo 4S5, but I want to conserve my potions for when I'm doing even higher wizarding challenges with other players. And again, that's kind of a personal decision for me. You have to find where that falls for you. If you are slowly working your way up, if you have not been grinding dark chambers for a long time, then you might want to work at each subsequent level before moving up. Just make sure that you are totally comfortable in a particular chamber before going to the next chamber up. That will make it more likely that you survive without having to use too many of your resources. And finally, again, with the solo versus group tip in choosing your chamber, if you are going to do a higher level chamber, and generally speaking that would be any of the dark chambers, if you and your teammates are kind of lower level ones, you might want to consider this also for your forest chambers. You want to have one of at least each profession in your group. So at least one professor, at least one magizoologist, and at least one auror, so that you have a somewhat balanced group. I know it can be hard to have a perfectly balanced thing because, hey, you only get to have 5 in a group instead of 6, and players will argue back and forth for days about the best makeup of 5 players in a wizarding challenge. But honestly, as long as you have at least one of each profession, then you should be pretty good to go, and you can comfortably do the higher chambers. But again, you really do want that balance, especially if you and your teammates do not have a high profession level. Alright, I know that that was a lot of information. If you have any questions, please either reach out to me on social media or leave a comment down below. I will also try and have an article up on Wizards Unite Hub that sort of breaks down everything that I mentioned in this video. Ultimately, deciding the chamber in a fortress for a wizarding challenge comes down to your personal comfort level, and all of those other factors that I mentioned will go into deciding your personal comfort level. I just encourage you, if you are kind of a little bit lower in your profession, that you haven't advanced your skill tree all the way yet, to stick in the towers and like the low forests until you are super duper good at being a solid teammate. You don't want other players mad at you. But certainly everyone will get to Dark 5. I believe in you. You just need a little bit of practice. So if you didn't catch my runestone video, you can find that up above and also down below. And I will have more videos coming over the next few days to break down everything that you need to know about fortresses and Wizards Unite. As always, thank y'all so much for watching. Until next time, WUtubers!